Definitely not therapy.
Welcome to another episode of Definitely Not Therapy with me, social media sensation, Dan Lawrence. No one's ever called me that, by the way, but I'm saying if I say it enough, it will stick, won't it? It will definitely won't stick, will it? It's not going to stick. We're here to talk about the ups and downs of life, how we completely fall apart at the seams, and we sort of pick ourselves back up again. We want to hear the raw, unfiltered discussions about life, about mental health, about illness, about all the topics that people just really don't want to talk about. This is definitely not therapy.
It's definitely not therapy.
So in this episode, I'll be speaking to John, who is an aspiring singer-songwriter with some incredible music, but John has struggled with mental health for a lot of his adult life because of the pressures of social media and what is expected of you, which I can completely relate to, from the pressure of living with a wife who has bipolar, who has chronic pain. She has severe asthma. She has borderline personality disorder. And we're often talking about the people that have had an illness or a mental health struggle. And we're talking to the person that's coped with it and dealt with it and come out the other side. This is the first time we're speaking to someone who lives with someone who is dealing with some of the most serious conditions and how that affects him. On top of that, John's got his own health issues. He's been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, which leaves him fatigued. John is trying to be a man. He's trying to be a husband. He's trying to be a dad. He's trying to run a household and be the man. He's got 8 children living at the home. No wonder he's fatigued. He's got all of this pressure on his shoulders. He's got a wife who needs extra help, extra care, extra attention, and he wants to do everything he possibly can for his wife and for his children. Of course he does. And music is John's escape. So we're going to talk to John today to find out how he copes with his mental health.
It's definitely not therapy.
I know there's something niggling in the back of your mind right now, isn't there, where you're trying to concentrate on this podcast, on this very, very good podcast, this very engaging podcast, but you're thinking, I wish we had a new bathroom, I wish we had a new kitchen, I wish we had a new games room. Well, this week's episode of Definitely Not Therapy is sponsored by Bell Trades. We've all been there, haven't we? We've sat there and we thought, right, next job, we'll get the kitchen done. Next job, we'll get the bathroom done. And we just never get round to it. Why do we do that? We never get round to it. Do it. Now is the time. Contact Bell Trades and they can help. It might not cost as much as you think. Bell Trades have a very simple philosophy: to turn your house into a home that you're proud of. Not where you can think, I wish we had a new bathroom. I wish we had a new kitchen. I wish we had a new games room or man cave. Wish our bedroom was nice. Bell Trades don't need to start from scratch. You don't have to have an entire new room. You might be thinking, I just wish this room was finished. They can look at the room and they can see the potential and they can work with you on it. Bell Trades are specialists in bathrooms, kitchens and entire renovations. You will not be disappointed. And if you think, oh, Dan, I really, really, really want it done. I really want to get that bathroom finished. Or I really want to get a new kitchen, but I just haven't got the money. Life's hard at the moment. Life's expensive at the moment. But there are some really, really reasonable finance options available. Go check their website. It's www.belltrades.co.uk. Or why don't you check them out on Instagram? It's at bell__trades. It's a double underscore. On their Instagram page, they've got some great before and after shots. So you can see the work they do. You can see the quality. And the beauty is they cover the entire Southeast London as well as Kent. So if you're one of them people, you're sat there, you're in Southeast London, you're in Kent, you're thinking, oh, my bathroom. I don't like going in there because it stresses me out. www.belltrades.co.uk. Bell Trades have helped me bring my vision to life. My vision of this podcast, they've helped me by sponsoring. Let them help bring your vision to life in your home. Because home isn't just where you live, it's how you live. Get yourself a quote. What have you got to lose, eh? Anyway, let's get back to the podcast, shall we?
It's definitely not therapy.
John.
You right?
How you doing, mate? You good?
Yeah, not too bad.
Firstly, John, thank you for joining me this week on Definitely Not Therapy. I've been excited to talk to you actually because I've got your research sheet. We've actually shared a few conversations in the past over social media. And one of the things that you've actually brought up is the pressure of social media. So I think there's going to be quite a few things that I can relate to when you go through your story.
Yeah.
As you know, the reason that I'm doing the podcast is to help spread awareness. And there's so many different topics that I want to cover and I want to spread awareness around, but they all sort of, for me, come back to men's mental health, because that's the thing at the moment that I just don't think it's talked about enough. And there's so many people that are sat there, because I was one of them. I know I was one of them, and I was sat there thinking, I've got all these things and I don't know how to cope with it, how to deal with it, where to go, who to talk to. And it's overwhelming, I think, it can be, especially when you're brought up to just be a man's man. You just get on with it. You just do it. And actually, we're just in such a different generation now. We're in a kind of an in-between generation where we can't act like our parents acted, and that's nothing wrong with how they did. They was a product of their environment, but we've now got to not act like that because we're not allowed to, because you have to, treat children differently, which... I mean, this sounds bad, but what I mean is, like, I was ruled a little bit by fear when I was growing up. It was like we were scared of Dad, although all for the right reasons. That's what, when Dad gets home, you're in trouble.
Completely different generation.
Now you can't do that. So we're in this sort of transition period, and it's really difficult. So I just think by spreading some awareness, talking about actually, do you know what, some of the problems that people do have, real people that have got real stories. For me, that's the most relatable thing. That's what I related to when I was in my sort of deepest and darkest moments. People that actually have the exact same thing as me in common. So I hope by doing this and talking to people like yourself, John, that have had struggles and potentially do still have struggles, but people can sit there and think, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not the only person in the world that has these problems.
Yeah, although sometimes it does feel like that.
It does feel like that. And I think you become... Again, I'm speaking for myself, and I'd imagine if I felt like this, a lot of people felt like it, but I felt sort of selfish. What's the best way to describe it? I felt selfish, but I sort of felt protective over that selfishness, because I felt selfish in the fact that this is me, this is my trauma. No one could possibly know what I'm going through or how bad it is. And I try and protect that, but actually that's not true. There's so many people that go through much worse.
Did you feel like because you're more like in the media spotlight that you had to hide it more?
Oh, so much. Yeah. Well, the fact I did hide it, I had to hide it from the day it happened to 2.5 months later, because and it sounds silly. Like, it sounds so silly when I think back, because we're not the Beckhams. No one really cares. We didn't need to do a big announcement, but you do feel that pressure because you're making content. And you're posting content, and people are watching that, and people are consuming that, and then people feel like they know you. And everything we posted was, is a part of... Well, it came from my brain. Everything was part of me. They're all little parts of me that I'm putting out there. And I did have to hide it. I had to, but not just from social media. I had to hide it from friends and family, because I couldn't... I was embarrassed. To be honest, I was embarrassed.
Sorry, when you finally broke, did you feel like you had to put it out on video, or did you want to keep it to yourself?
Well, the thing is, when we finally broke, for me, it wasn't finally nothing. I didn't expect it. I was blindsided, so it wasn't expecting it to happen. So between that point, that's when I made a video of me. Well, basically, I was a broken man.
I watched it.
I was making a video diary that I could hopefully look back on in a year. But, my friends and family, my ex's family, they were supportive. They're like, you should post this video, like, tell people how you feel. Like, it was never to put her down. It wasn't about that. I was emotional, and it was about me and the things I was feeling. And, it did what it did. It went viral. I know that it did good because it showed that I got so much support from it. There was a lot of hate, and there was a lot of just get on with it and what you'd expect. But there's a lot of people message me now 2 years on, nearly 18 months on, saying, I'm so glad you posted that video because I've watched it. And what happens is it's the algorithm. So if someone sat there and they're going through a breakup, they're scrolling, they're looking for sad songs, they're looking for sad stuff, they're looking for breakups, and it comes up and it shows people that actually, the same as what I'm trying to do, you're not alone. It shows people, they sit there and think,
it's not. It just shows that you're human at the end of the day.
Yeah, because
even though you're on, Facebook and TikTok and whatever, you're popular, you've got a lot of followers, it just shows that everyone is human, no matter what you are, who you are, what gender you are. Everyone is the same. Everyone's got emotion.
Everyone goes through it, and pain is pain, and people deal with things differently. And this is why I say, some people, I feel that selfishness, but people go through so much worse than what I went through, and they cope so much better. And I don't, in my mind, I don't understand that. I don't understand that because I don't know how anyone could cope any better than what I'm coping. And that's just because that's me, and that's the only way I know how to do it. But people go through a lot less, and we lose people over it. We lose people over it. And that's, I think, the heartbreaking thing, that there's no formula for it. There's no real kind of, not a real place for men to talk, because there's now so many clubs, there's so many places that men can go and talk. Like Andy's Man Club is a great one. I've spoken to a few guys from there on the podcast so far, but we need more places like that. We need it to be acceptable for men to kind of, this is how I sort of
be able to express themselves. And
because
it can be frustrating. It can be, because I don't really have that many people to speak to. I've got one good friend from school who very rarely speak to him. He was in the RAF for 9 years. Now he's going through a lot of crap, basically, with his ex. And it's like, I don't know, I find it really difficult to open up to people.
But
it must be a man thing.
That's a lot of men. I think a lot of men do that. And that's why when I've spoken to a couple, I've had, like I say, a few guys from Andy's Man Club. And for me, I never went to it. And the reason I never went to it is for exactly what you've just said there, John, is I'm thinking, okay, I've got to sit in a room full of other men and tell them my emotions. Never going to happen. Can't do it. Physically can't do it. But after hearing people's stories who have been there, like, it's just that 10 minutes of courage. 10 minutes of courage to walk through that door, and it can save your life. It really can. I think I was fortunate that a few circumstances happened that meant my life I was saved and I didn't do anything silly, but it's very easy to get yourself into that mindset when something happens. So yeah, I think you're right. It's hard to talk, and especially you've said it there about kind of the support network. That is the biggest thing. But the one thing I would say, sometimes you only need that one person. You only need one person to check in and say, how are you? How was that thing this week? Just so that someone does care. But when...
My oldest daughter's very good at that. She's 24, and she'll always... Because there's a bit of stuff going on with my mum at the moment. She's not well. And every day, she'll come home from work and she'll say, how are you today, Dad? How are you today? And it's really heartwarming, and she is that. She just looks out for people.
Yeah. But I guess she's the younger generation. She's now the generation that it is, they're not taking over, but they're growing up now with the knowledge of, we do need to ask. We do need to ask, are you okay? And we do need to be checking in with people. Whereas back when we grew up, it wouldn't have been, are you okay? It would have been having a laugh with your mates. That was your therapy. Down the pub, a couple of drinks, taking the mick out of each other. And that was it, because you'd then forget about your problems, bottling them up, and think, oh, okay, do you know what? Everything's fine. I've had a laugh tonight. I can forget about that for a couple of weeks, and then it gets worse and worse and worse. And that's why, unfortunately, and it's a hard topic to talk about, but that's why the suicide rate in men is so high, because we bottle things up and we don't cope well when it comes to breakups, and especially when there's children involved, we don't cope well with it, and that's the biggest cause of. I'm
lucky in that sense. I'm lucky because I've never had that situation, but obviously, just in like I was saying, my best mate, he went through it. Now he's facing a court case, and it's just like, I don't know. There are people out there that really, I don't know, they're really strong, but he's not, and I feel for him. I really do. But then I've got my own stuff going on, as has a lot of people. yeah, it's difficult when you've got your own stuff going on to then be there for somebody else. You know what I mean? But yeah, you do what you can.
I know what you mean. I think certain, and this is where, for me, some of the selfishness came in. Like my best friend he was going through something really similar to me at the same time, but I just made it all about me. Like I just made it all about me because I was hurting so much, but he was going through the same thing. But that didn't stop him. He was still there for me every single day whenever I needed him to be. But yeah, I don't know. It's
then people deal with things differently. Like you said, he was there for you, you weren't. But it's just everyone deals with things differently. You can't blame yourself for that at all because you've never been through that situation. You just don't know how you're going to react to it.
Yeah, that's the thing. But so anyway, so before this becomes a podcast just about me, John, tell me about you. What was childhood like for you, or growing up, or start wherever you want to start, whenever sort of mental health became a part of your life?
I think it was secondary school. Because I was always, as a youngster, my mum and dad were like churchgoers. I used to have to go to Sunday school every Sunday, was literally forced into it. I didn't enjoy it. And then secondary school came around and just got in with the wrong crowd, I think. Because I was quite big back then. I was quite a big lad back then. And they used to obviously fizz at me for, the size. I used to get spat on and, on the school bus on the way home. I used to hate it. There was a group of 3 or 4 of them. And, they used to spit on me and smack my head. And this is the thing, I've never really spoken to anyone about it. I don't know why it's now, but it's just, I think that's where it all started. Subconsciously, I didn't know. But it ended up the situation where it was just getting so bad. My dad used to drop me off at the school every morning, and I used to wait for him to go. He used to go to work, and I used to run through the woods and go up onto the local golf course and basically just stay there all day. And I used to write my own absent notes, forge my mum's signature. And it just all went from there. And I used to sit in this little cemetery and go and see my gran and granddad where they were, and the local library. And it got to the point then, I think my mum found a letter that I'd written, an absence note, in one of my drawers. And I got home from school one day and she's like, "Are you going to explain this?" And that was it. Just let it all out. And then, because she was a governor of the school at the time, and she went to the head teacher. She went to the head teacher's office and then said, "Right, he will not be coming back to this school." Yeah, that was I was year 10 then. So it was, from year 7 to year 10, it was awful.
That's horrible for a child of that age.
Not every day. It was, I don't know, it was just little things. There was a group, like I said, 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
And some days it was relentless.
But for you to then be going to the extent at that age of writing your own absent note and then taking yourself through the woods and sitting on a golf course, that must just be so isolating. And you wouldn't have known maybe at the time, but the mental health.
About it at the time. I think it's only now, looking back after a few years, you sort of realise that, shit, that was quite bad. You don't think of it at the time. You just think you're getting away from that situation and, maybe it will go away the next day. But it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. And I suppose that's the mental scar now. And this is why, with my kids now, if any of them get any sort of bullying about their weight, anything like that, their appearance, I come down hard on the school, because that's what I had to endure at school, which I've had with one of my kids. And, it's led to her having mental health issues. So,
that must be really hard. That must be really hard as a dad. That must be really hard to know that you went through that and you've tried to protect her from that. And the same thing is still happening, like bullying is still going on.
Yeah. I mean, with her as well, she's 14 now, nearly 15. And it started when she was 12. I'll never forget it. I was in my mum's garden and I got a phone call from the school. And they said, "Oh, just to let you know, Mr. Giles, I'm not sure if you were aware, but Emily's been self-harming," because she had a confidant at the school. someone that she spoke to, and I was just I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. So we took her to something called CAMS over here. And that didn't really work. It's like a mental health place, but she's getting a lot better now. It was just those couple of school years that were absolute hell. And you just feel so helpless. I don't. Yeah,
I think
it's hard to talk about.
that's the thing that is terrifying. I think as a dad, because we're designed to be protective. We're protective over our little ones. So if something like that happens, like, yeah, I don't know. Like a friend of mine, a close friend of mine, had his child was in school, and I've got to be careful what I say here because I don't want to say any names or give anything away, but they were in school and they were bullied over something. They were like attacked quite badly, and they were injured through it, and then they retaliated, but they were the ones that got in trouble for retaliating, for trying to defend themselves. So what do we do? Do we just let our children get bullied? Because like, my little Harper's lovely, but all little kids at that age are lovely. But do you know what? If someone even looked at her the wrong way, I'd lose my mind. I'd be angry about it. But you can't really do anything about it. You've got to kind of let them to a point. Where do you step in, and how far can you take it when your child's clearly getting bullied and then they're going to get mental health issues from it? Like you would do anything to stop that from happening. So to take that phone call, you must have been absolutely devastated.
Yeah, and it's been, like I said, pretty much ongoing for the last 2 years. Mental health classes. She speaks to a counsellor at school now. It's a lot better than it was, let me tell you.
Is she in the same school, or has she moved?
No, same school. We've got 3 of the other kids are in that school as well, which is nice in a way because she's got that little bit of support from her siblings. Yeah, it was because she had her friends there as well, so it would have been hard to remove her where she didn't know anyone. But yeah, no, she's stuck it out, and I had countless meetings at the school with the head of BU and the mental health team there, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it's getting a little bit better because she's such a sweet girl. She really is. She wouldn't hurt a fly.
Well, fingers crossed. Well, I hope it all works out for her, and I'm glad that she's getting the help that she deserves to have, and hopefully, she can draw a line and move forward, and be happy and healthy moving forward.
And that's why it comes down so hard in the school, because like I said, that's what happened to me.
Yeah,
exactly the same thing. And I'm guessing that is where it all started for me, but I didn't know it at the time.
It's definitely not therapy.
So you can look back now when things happen, you think it's now you've unlocked Pandora's box, as it were, and you can look back at that trauma and think, okay, that's probably has played a part. But I guess when there's one or two little things, you can say, okay, it's easy to forget about. But maybe when 3 or 4 things happen, 5 or 6 things happen, the more and more that's piled on you and the pressure, well, at some point, like I said earlier, that's got to go somewhere. And then you do start thinking, okay, yeah, maybe that obviously did play a part. Maybe that's where it started. So I guess it's good in a way that you know that, because then you can talk about that and you can kind of get it off your chest. But how does it affect you sort of now? Obviously, being an older guy, Yeah,
not so much now. There's been a lot more happened since that point. But I'm guessing that was the catalyst for everything. Maybe, like I said, I didn't really know it. I mean, I didn't get diagnosed with depression until 2012.
Okay.
So, when you think I finished school in 1996, giving away my age now. Yeah, it was a long time. Obviously, when you're diagnosed with depression, you think about things that happened in the past, not just what's the here and now. Yeah, in some ways, it was a help knowing that I actually had this illness. In some ways, it was a hindrance. It affected me working as well. I haven't actually had a proper job since 2015.
Oh, really? That's because of the depression.
Depression, and also my wife's health as well. She's got CPS, which is chronic pain syndrome. She's got bipolar. She's got severe asthma. We've had to have a stair lift put in for her. We've had a ramp put up to the front door now because she's got to use a mobility scooter.
Okay.
And you know, she's only 40.
Wow. So you have all of that pressure on your shoulders as well.
I'm designated as a full-time carer. Yeah.
So just before we get into that, because obviously there's quite a lot there with your wife, and obviously on your research sheet I've read, you know, about you've got, I think, 8 children. You're obviously trying to be the family man and run everything, and you've got all this pressure on you. But what we don't often talk about, what I haven't talked about in this podcast, is the people that have had mental health issues that have come out the other side, but not necessarily to people that are living full time with someone that maybe has extra needs, and how much that pressure puts on you, which I'd love to sort of get in, not love to get into, because that sounds like I wouldn't love to get into that, because I'm sorry that that's how your wife obviously feels, and she has those illnesses. But before we get into that, depression at 2012, where you was diagnosed, what happened? Why were you diagnosed in 2012? Was there an event that happened? Did something happen, or did you just feel?
My gran and granddad both died within a year of each other. My gran died in 2011, my granddad 2012. We went to the hospital to see him for the last time. I can't remember what month it was now, but yeah, like subconsciously. And then obviously she had postnatal depression in 2009, so that's going back as well. It's just all these little things build up and then build up, and they finally just explode, I suppose. And that's when I decided to go to the GP and just say, you know, look, this is going on, this is happening. Yeah, and it's just things like that. It snowballs. You know, you can't. Things in life happen. You can't stop it. In some ways, I feel I dealt with it fairly well. Definitely, the medication helped. Definitely, because I was really grouchy, really irritable, taking things out on people. You know, really moody. So yeah, that helps. I'm on the highest dosage of that now. But yeah, I think that's the events leading up to that 2012. It's just a culmination of things that happened.
Yeah.
And I think that's just where it went, really.
Yeah. I mean, I can relate to that, and I think I respect you hugely for the fact that you yourself could feel that, and you feel that there was a difference in your personality, and you yourself went to the doctor. I sort of had a similar situation. My grandparents they'd both passed within a short period of each other, and it was through COVID, and there was a lot of stress around that, because like Harper was just born, and I was so close to my nan and granddad, and my nan, I remember it because she had dementia, and she was in a care home, and it was through lockdown, so we couldn't, you know, go and see her, but we could go and see her, but strict rules, and I really wanted her to meet Harper, and I was so excited because the nurses were, and I've never told this story, so I'll try not to get emotional, but like I was so close to my nan. I was so like I was so, and even through her dementia, when she was still living at home with granddad, she would always remember me. She would always call me, "Oh, my little Daniel." It was always, "Oh, my little Daniel." So she'd forget loads and loads of stuff, but because we had a routine where I would take dinner around to them once a week, I'd do their shopping for them, I'd take them some fruit and veg and whatever it was, so that we had certain routines. So she'd always still remember me. And when she was in hospital and she couldn't remember anyone, she was in a care home, she couldn't remember anyone. The nurse, I said, "Put her on the phone to me. I want to talk to her, because I'm booking to come in. I want to bring Harper in to meet her, because my nan was really special to me, and Harper had just been born." And I had a full blown conversation with my nan, and which was lovely. And I think that was on the Friday. That was on the Monday, and we were going to see her on the Friday. So on the Monday, I had the conversation, and the nurse said, "I can't believe she was just having a conversation with you, and she knew who you was. That's the most alert and aware she's been since she's been in here." And then we went to see her on the Friday, and on the Friday, she was just like a zombie. She didn't know. They just fed, and obviously because of the illness, they'd fed her with medication, and she was just in a chair. It was just heartbreaking to see my nan like that. So she didn't really get to meet Harper, because Harper was there, but Harper won't remember it because she was a baby, and my nan, that was on the Friday, and I think my nan passed away on the Monday or the Tuesday. So
yeah, bless you.
So it's hard, but I had that, and then I had Same with my granddad shortly after, I think within a year. And then, but I never dealt with it. I never went to the doctor. I never dealt with it. I just bottled it up and didn't. I was like, because I was also had the pressure of newborn baby, trying to run a household, trying to come up with new videos every single day to post, and it was a lot. And I never went to. I should have, and I never did. I wish I was more like you in that respect, because I just didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, yeah. But then, like you say, everyone's different, and it's losing a grandparent. It's hard.
Yeah.
You dealt with that the way you saw it. Basically, you didn't want to have the hassle. I mean, at any point, when you were like doing all your prank videos and things like that, did you ever sort of think to like, I really need to stop doing this for a minute? Just have time to grieve. Did you ever?
I didn't. I didn't, and I probably should have. But I'll tell you the issue with social media. Social media is a very fickle industry, and I love it, and I love being able to create content that makes people laugh. Like genuinely, that's my. I've done that for so much longer than before I created the Facebook pages. Yeah. But the problem is when it turns from just a bit of fun to a job, and you've got a family that rely on you, I just put myself bottom of the pile. It didn't matter. Like, I knew that I probably needed therapy or needed to see a doctor, but therapy is going to cost money. Well, that's money taken out of my little girl's pocket for food or whatever it was. So it's I probably should have, but the problem with it, you just don't get time off. We got to do nice things. We got to go on nice holidays, but even during those holidays, you have to work constantly. You have, because if you're away for 3 weeks, you've got to post while you're there. You've got to plan for when you get back. It's a constant. So I never had the time off to grieve, and I think that was a massive factor. But at the time, it didn't even cross my mind to stop doing what I was doing, because I just thought, if I stop what I'm doing, well, I've got to go and get a normal job anyway, which is that's not like, I haven't got a problem with doing that. But if I go and do that, then it's like, well, I'm then got even less time at home with the girls, so I might as well just keep doing what I'm doing. And then I thought I had that support there, because at home, that's where my support network is. That's where my safety net is. Which obviously, turns out that's not the case. But that's another story. But yeah,
no. But I suppose in a way, at the time, what happened with your granddad, you were working, but it was working with family. Maybe if you had another job somewhere else, it would take you away from the situation a little bit. I don't know.
Probably would have.
I don't know. Hindsight's a wonderful thing.
It's definitely not therapy.
Okay, so coming back to the sort of the home life then. So obviously for you, you've said now that you're pretty good. You've dealt with some things in the past, and you're pretty good now. But how is it living with, obviously, your wife, obviously, who has perhaps some extra needs with the severe asthma, the chronic pain syndrome, personality. Was it borderline BPD? Did
borderline
you say?
personality. She's got bipolar and borderline personality disorder.
So can you just, because I don't really know what those two things are, so would you mind just educating me a little bit and telling me what they mean and what they are?
Bipolar is this. You can be 1 minute, you can be as high as a kite, flying, literally going around the house doing the things you shouldn't be doing, knowing that it's going to have an effect on you the following day. And then obviously you've got the lows, the real lows. You just don't want to get out of bed. You're irritable. You take it out on people. To be honest with you, it's really, I suppose in a way I've come to sort of accept's the wrong word. Deal with it, I think. With the borderline personality disorder, that's just like Jekyll and Hyde. You can flick a switch, and 1 minute she's happy as Larry, next minute she's showing at you in all sorts of ways. But
so, like a more extreme version of bipolar.
Yeah, it's difficult. It really is. But at the end of the day, we just celebrated our 19th wedding anniversary yesterday.
Well, congratulations! That's incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, we still have a laugh. It's things they're different now, obviously with her illnesses and stuff, because she finds that she can't really walk anywhere. That's why she's got this mobility scooter now. But yeah, it's an everyday thing, every day. You know, like take for instance today, she couldn't get off the sofa because she had chronic back pain. You know, she couldn't even walk to the kitchen, you know, without a walking stick. You know, she's 40 years old. You know, I know that the kids sometimes do take the mickey out of her because she said, you look like you're about 80 years old. It's difficult for them to understand, especially the younger ones.
Yeah.
It's every day, Dan. It really is. It's hard sometimes, especially obviously where I've got problems with my mum at the moment as well. She's in hospital. I've just been diagnosed with diabetes as well. So that's like, now I know why I'm always tired and excessive thirst. You know, yeah, it's just an everyday thing. You just get on with it. Basically, that's all I can do.
But what are your coping mechanisms, though? Because I think that's a lot of stuff to cope with and to be on your shoulders. And obviously, I'm sure you know you and your wife have been together 19 years, which is
my escape is music.
Well, that's what I was going to come on to. Was it must be music? So obviously, you've sent me a couple of songs in the past. I've seen a couple of the videos that have been made, and I think the last one in particular, I forgot to write the name of it down, but it was beautiful and it actually hit a bit of a chord with me. But I think I quite often listen, like everyone uses music as an escape, don't they? But yeah, I thought it was really touching, your last song, which hopefully I'll be able to play at the end of this episode so that people can hear it.
It's had a lot of interest on on Facebook. I know it's done quite a few hundred thousand, no, a few thousand views, not 100,000. But for me, getting to near 100k views on a video is quite something. You know, I wasn't expecting it to take off the way it did. Yeah, it's just try and lose myself in it. This is why in the evenings I enjoy just putting together a song, just writing the lyrics. I mean, it's all basically done by AI. You know, I don't. I just write the lyrics and the music comes itself. It does it all. I don't have the talent to play a guitar or sing myself. It's all done by AI. You know, and I'm not ashamed to say that. I know that AI is a massive thing at the moment. It's like the video for that song that I sent you. That was all done by AI as well, by a friend of mine.
Which is incredible, by the way, because AI now, you can look at a video and you've really got to look at and think, is that AI or is that real? Because it's so good now. It's so difficult to like.
Some of it is, yeah. It's crazy.
It's crazy. So when did you first get into music? What has it been your whole life, or is it just been more recent?
No, I think it really took a hold. This is going to sound like such a cliche, but in 1994, when I first heard Oasis' song "Live Forever," that changed it for me.
Yeah,
I wasn't into. I mean, I've been to see gigs and stuff. I mean, I was into Status Quo when I was young. My first gig was 10 years old, going to see them in Bournemouth. But then when I heard a friend of mine was really big into Oasis, and he started playing it, and I cannot emphasize how much that band has played a massive part in my life. They really have.
Status Quo. Well, I mean, what I will say is that
Oasis.
Oh, Oasis. So did you get to see Oasis recently?
No, couldn't get tickets, couldn't afford them.
Well, they're so expensive, aren't they? They're so ridiculous. Yeah. I didn't get to go and see them either. They were a big. I mean, I loved them growing up, but I wasn't like a super fan. But I mean,
before they split up in 2009, I saw them 7 times live. So.
Oh, okay. Well, at least you got to see them then.
Yeah, it was a great experience. Yeah, I mean, I've got "Live Forever" tattooed on my arm. You know, that's my favourite ever song, and it means so much to me. It's one of them songs I could just listen to over and over again. Yeah, it's just their music. I find it so uplifting.
Yeah,
and it seems to resonate with a lot of people, as you can well tell by the tour. But that's getting lost in that music. You know, live gigs as well. Not so much these days because they're so expensive. But, you know, back in the early 2000s, yeah, I used to go to gigs every year, U2, Stereophonics, Kasabian, all those sort of bands.
I think I've only been to, and listen, this is embarrassing, but I will tell you this. My first, and this is where you've said about your first ever gig that you went to was Status Quo, that's quite a cool that's quite
I
a
mean, when you
cool
think
thing. Like,
that was 1990, so they were still fairly big at that time.
yeah, but even still, even if they weren't, it's still status quo. It's still like like they're reputable. My first ever concert was All Saints.
Do you know what? I can't laugh at that because I went to see them in Bournemouth as well.
Yeah, but not for your first. I mean, okay,
No, not for the
if you're a
first
music
one,
fan,
no.
they had one good
That's-
song out, I think, which was the song from we just watched. What film was it with Leonardo
It's
DiCaprio? The Beach. There's
Yeah.
and they done the song for it, and it was just everywhere. And me and my best mates, his mum drove us up in a little van, and we was there, and we was just like, it was mainly women. It was mainly not women. It was mainly girls, just teenage girls. And there was us like 3 or 4 teenagers, like boys, just like.
Yeah, that's shocking. That's shocking, Dan. I wouldn't advertise that too much.
I might even have to leave that out of the podcast, you know. But I did, just to kind of balance it. I went to Glastonbury and saw some incredible acts at Glastonbury, and I went to see Eminem at Wembley.
What's Glastonbury like? I've never been to Glastonbury. What's it like?
So Glastonbury for me, I've never been like a festival goer. Growing up, I'd never been to and also Glastonbury was my first ever festival in my whole life. So I went big, and it was the year, I can't remember the year now, but Dell was playing Coldplay, but it was incredible. But I'm very much like live music for me is just incredible. I watched a band, I can't remember what they're called now. I watched a band, anyway, I didn't like the band, and then they were on, and I listened to them, and they were incredible. It was like the best thing I'd ever seen. But then I come away from it, downloaded the album, I just didn't like it. It was just, but live, it was the experience, it was the atmosphere. I saw some incredible acts, but the whole thing was just surreal. Like Glastonbury is a surreal place. It's just massive, and it was poured down with rain. There was just mud everywhere. Everyone was filthy, but no one cared.
Yeah.
But that was good. I'm glad I did it.
When the festival was like fully, like you got, I think it's classed as like one of the biggest. It can be like classed as one of the biggest sort of towns, population wise. It can be like a town because it's like 200,000 people or something like that. Yeah.
When you're stood there and you can see the kind of, you see the main stage and you see someone like Adele and everyone from the festival is there, it's overwhelming because there's so many people. But it's just an incredible atmosphere. But the best concert I've ever been to, and to be honest, I went to see All Saints, which obviously we'll brush over, Glastonbury, and then I went to see Eminem at Wembley when he was in London, and he was there. I think he did 2 nights, and for me, like growing up, was probably like Oasis was for you, Eminem was for me, because that was my era, and all me and my friends, we was listening to his music and we knew all the lyrics, even though we shouldn't have. And I got to see him, especially because I was due to see him before he retired, and I missed the opportunity. So when it come round that he was doing like a 2 nights in Wembley, and I did the first night, and it was incredible because there was so much buzz. Me and my friend went up there. We spent all day up there, and there was all this buzz about who he's going to bring out as a guest, and everyone was saying it was going to be Rihanna because Rihanna had posted she's in London. So everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's Rihanna!" And then Dr. Dre come out, and it was like, it was Dr. Dre, but and I was the first night, so it was a surprise for everyone. And I still think even if you were there on the second, I think it was 3 nights, even if you were there second night, third night, it would have been incredible. But it wouldn't have been incredible as the first night, not knowing that Dr. Dre was going to come out, who hadn't performed in years, and he come out and they did like Forgot About Dre, and it was just the whole. I can't even explain to you. The hairs on my arm are now are standing up now.
Like, it's just like one of them moments, isn't it? Yeah.
One of them moments is incredible. So live music, but for me, I spend a lot more time at live comedy. So I'll go to comedy shows, like seeing big, like Ricky Gervais, Ramesh Ranganathan.
That's one thing I've never been to. I've never been to a live comedy show.
Live comedy is so much better than comedy anywhere else. I like watching it on a DVD or TV, whatever. Live comedy is just incredible because even if you see not a massive comedian, comedy is comedy. So yeah, it's funny if you've got someone like Ricky Gervais or Ramesh Ranganathan. For me, are like my favourite comedians. But I've seen comedians that I've never heard of, but I've laughed so much because you're in their world for just a little period of time. And yeah, for me it's comedy, but
My guy with Billy Connolly, I just love him. Oh my god, he's so
Legendary.
funny. Oh, I was watching him last night. The story about the dwarf on the bus, and I was just, oh god, it's no matter how many times you watch some of his sketches, they just they don't get bored and they don't get old.
They're timeless.
But yeah, him for me, and Lee Evans as well. I like.
Oh, I grew up on Lee Evans as well. Me and my friends
Crazy.
would literally just replay, like, just act out all the Lee Evans sketches. Just that's constantly that, and The Office. When I got a little bit older, The Office and Ricky Gervais. But I think that's why comedy is so like deep rooted in me, because I grew up. That was my escape. So whereas for a lot of people, music is their escape. Like you say with like Oasis, for me it was always comedy. It was always comedy. I would sit there and watch comedy every single night. I'd be watching some form of comedy.
Yeah.
And that was my escape. So I think that's why I like to use quite often dark humour in situations that I probably shouldn't, but that's just how
a lot of people don't get that, do they? A lot of people don't get the dark humour, but I think it's great.
Yeah. I think it's the problem with dark humour is there's always a line, and you've got for it to be dark humour, you've got to cross that line, but it's like how far is acceptable? And the problem is now in the generation we're in, even if you're close to that line, people don't like it.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you know what I mean? You should be able to joke about anything. It doesn't mean you're necessarily in agreement with something. You can make light of any situation. I've done it about my marriage breakdown. I've done it. It's
well, it's, in a way, it's good that you're in a place you can do that now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes sometimes I don't know if I am in a place where I should, but I just do anyway, because that's my nature is, well, if someone else is going to say it, I'm going to say it first. If someone's going to think it, I'm going to say it first.
Yeah. The thing is, don't ever change. Don't ever change. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
It's definitely not therapy.
In terms of music, let's go back to your music. So I appreciate that's like an escape for you. Is it something that obviously you've had a couple of songs, and what's the sort of goal for you? Is it just a hobby? Are you just quite happy doing what you're doing?
Hobby. I mean, there's nothing better. I mean, I know it's generated by AI, but I write all the lyrics for the songs.
Yeah.
And when you play it on a speaker that's got a very good bass on it and goes very loud, you just think you're the bollocks.
Well, when it's something you've created as well.
Yeah.
Some of it may be AI.
There's a couple of songs of mine I think, do you know what? That would be good in the charts. Some of the crap in the charts at the moment. And it's like, well, I don't even know what's in the charts now, because there's no like Top of the Pops or anything like that anymore. But yeah, creating something that I can listen to back and think, it's a pretty decent song. I think it is anyway.
Yeah. What is the one you're most proud of?
There's one called The Legend of Red Hand, which hasn't actually been released yet. It's due to be released in September. It's part of an album. But it's basically, this is going to sound stupid. I imagined Red Dead Redemption, the game, because my son plays that a hell of a lot. And I just wanted to write a story about a Wild West tale. And that's basically what I did. Some guy lost his home in a war, got it back. The lyrics speak for themselves. But yeah, that, when it kicks in, when the drop goes, the beats start, and oh my God. It's just, I love it. And it's funny as well when you're playing these songs and the kids come down to the kitchen when you listen to it, like they're singing along with the lyrics. They know the lyrics because I played them that much.
That's incredible, though. But they obviously like it. The fact you might play it a lot, but they wouldn't be singing their lyrics if it didn't stick with them.
Well, even my son, Liam, he's 19. He's written a couple of tracks on the album that's out now in Spotify. There's a track called Broken Lives and a track called The Devil Queen. He wrote the lyrics for them. And that's on the album I've got out, which was released end of July. And he's pretty good at lyrics as well. He was in a band, but not for very long.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. That actually, have any of the children followed in your footsteps of being, musically gifted or creative at all?
Well, yeah, Megan, the eldest daughter that I was talking to you about earlier, she's just finished her degree in musical theatre.
Oh wow!
So I think she wants to eventually. I think she's taking a bit of time out at the moment, but she wants to like teach at universities, musical theatre. She's been in a couple of shows, local shows and stuff like that. She's always going up to London to see shows. Yeah, she loves all that sort of stuff. Also, one of my other girls, Lucy, she's 13, no, 12, but yeah, she's an amazing artist. She just draws and draws and draws. She's going through that sort of gothic stage at the moment where it's all black and, black eyeliner and all that sort of thing. But yeah, she's a very, very talented artist. I mean, if she brings some of us drawings down, I'll be sat in the garden and she'll come downstairs. She's like, Dad, look what I draw. Oh my God. That's awesome. It's like, I couldn't even draw a stick man like that, But yeah, no, I mean, they're all talented in their own way.
Yeah.
Jack, he's just finished school. He's going to college in September. He's a huge gamer. And some of the stuff that he can do this might sound silly, but on Minecraft, some of the stuff he builds on there is ridiculous. He spends hours and hours and hours on the. But yeah, let's say they're all talented in their own way, all of them. And the one thing that makes me proudest more than anything is when you get like people outside of the home, like the school, so aren't they really well behaved? Aren't they really polite? So that's how they've been brought up. Not so much when they're at home. Totally different. Sometimes I'll say, "Are you talking about the same person?" Like on a parent team or something. So you've got all that to come.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that, to be fair. But I know, because at home I know she pushes her boundaries. And she's got me wrapped around her finger. So I know full well, because when I speak to her teachers now, they're like, she's so well behaved. She's the first one to tidy up at the end of the day. I'm like, well, no, she isn't. She's never the first one to tidy up, ever. She's the first one to make a mess.
About the same person, yeah.
But we wouldn't have them any other way.
No, she's daddy's girl anyway, isn't she?
I think that's one of my biggest fears, is just her looking back and not remembering me, but not having those core memories of daddy, and it just being
that's the thing with children. People always, you see all these things on Facebook and pictures in newspaper. People like spending hundreds and thousands of pounds on presents and things that they're never going to remember.
No,
it's the days out, the little things, just having a walk down to the beach, or feeding the ducks. This is all the stuff they remember. They don't remember what you bought them for Christmas in 2005 or whatever it is. And that's what I've always said to them. They say, "Oh, Dad, what am I getting for Christmas?" Not a lot, because this is a story I always tell them about. Gordon Ramsay.
Mm-hmm.
He's got all this money. He buys his children one present every year because they appreciate it all.
That's good. I like that. I think that sets good morals.
It does. It means that they don't think they can be spoiled, that they don't grow up to think that they can be spoiled.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't agree with spending hundreds and hundreds of pounds on a child, because that's how their attitude will be as they grow up. They'll think they can get whatever they want when they want.
Yeah. And that, I think, is difficult with divorce, because a lot of divorced parents I've spoken to, it's very difficult, because not that it's competitive, but you don't want to do better than you don't want to, you kind of don't want to feel like you haven't done as good as the other person. But I think sometimes you just can't, sometimes in social media, it's you can earn lots and lots and lots of money, and you can be a bit more frivolous with it, and you can do nice things. Sometimes you're earning nothing. And you know what? The important thing is just being present and having the memories. The important thing for me is, whether I've got money or haven't got money, is being able to be there for her. That's the important. Like, that's all I want from this career of social media. Isn't to drive a Lamborghini or have a big mansion. I don't care where I live. I don't care what I drive, but I do care about having time with my little girl.
Yeah,
that's what it's about.
Totally, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, look, before we wrap up, I always like to end, because some of these chats, ours has been quite light-hearted, to be fair, but I always like to end on something a bit more positive. So I always ask if you've got like a go-to joke that you use, or if you've had something funny that's happened in the last couple of weeks or couple of months, just something positive, like a positive ending to the podcast, really.
My 9-year-old daughter ran into a radiator the other day because she wasn't looking where she was going. She's so clumsy, honestly. she missed a step off the bus the other day. She had a McDonald's Happy Meal in her hand, and she literally face planted the pavement. But then one of my other kids picked up the drink, said, "Oh, save the drink, Dad." It's like, it's just stupid stuff like that. You just remember,
especially when it's your own kids as well.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. I mean, there have been a lot of funny moments. It's just trying to remember them when we put on the spot, Dan.
No, I know. I like to do that because then I like to get something raw out of people. People expect to talk about their trauma and the sad things, but it's nice to hear if there's like a.
Yeah, I think with the mental health side of things, that's, I deal with that by, I don't know, just getting on with it.
Mm.
Don't very often show emotion. I mean, the only time I really have really broken down was when my dad, he was about a week from passing away, and I put a song on and I shouldn't have done, and it was One More Light by Linkin Park, and I just broke down. That was 4 years. It'd be 4 years ago this month. So yeah, that was hard.
Yeah.
It's funny because it was before he died. I didn't cry when he died.
Yeah.
I let it all out before, and also at the funeral, I didn't cry. It's just I don't know. That's just my mindset.
But I think that's a lot of men will do that. I think I think we put pressure on ourselves that in those moments. I don't know how to describe it best, but it's like, because I've been to my nan and my granddad's funeral, and it's you feel yourself, you're sad, you're sad, but you can't let people see you cry, so you sort of bottle it up and throw away the key, and you just deal with it. But
I think that's the hardest thing as well when you've got children.
Yeah,
you don't want them to see you upset.
Yeah.
Like now, for instance. Sorry, we're getting a bit more into the mental health side of things now. My mum's got dementia. Like you were talking about your nana.
Yeah.
And at the moment, she went to hospital just over a week ago because she had a fall in a little bungalow where she lives. And the carer came in at 9 o'clock in the morning, and she was led between the chest of drawers and the commode. And she got taken into hospital, and now they've basically decided that, she needs to move into a dementia care home full time, which luckily it's just 5 minutes up the road from where she lives anyway. So all her friends can still visit her. But yeah, we went to see her. Me and the wife went to see her on Monday. That's just, I don't know. There's another song that I wrote as well, going back to it, that just reminds me of her. Like, I really find it difficult to listen to because it just reminds me of my mum. Yeah, so they've got that going on at the moment. Constant contact with my brothers as well, because they're obviously going to have to clear the bungalow out.
Yeah. I think you have to be, if you don't mind me saying this, and you are clearly dealing with all of this very well, and I respect you for that, but you've got to look after yourself as well, because obviously there's a lot of, and this is I'm conscious about, like, because I'm not in any position to give anyone any advice, but where I hear a lot of people telling me they've got these support networks, and obviously you've got quite a lot to deal with in your everyday life, and you have this escape of music, and you've got an incredible wife and incredible kids, and I'm sure they are all there for you, and you've said your daughter comes home and asks and stuff, but it's just making sure you do have a support network, and that you don't just bottle these things up, and that you are coping with it. Like,
I've been told that so many times, but it's, I don't know, it's just ingrained into me, I suppose. But it's not. I don't do it on purpose. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
It's the funny thing is, I'll get emotional when I think about a certain situation, like with Mum at the moment, and then it's the music thing. You listen to a certain song. My dad's one was One More Light. I can't. If one of the kids puts it on now, I say, can you just turn it off, because I can't listen to it.
Yeah. I can relate to that. I think I've had, especially even with, obviously your kids it sounds like they're all older than Harper, and obviously Harper was only 3 when we split, but I didn't want her to see me cry. But the problem was, every single time for months, not every time, I'm being dramatic, but a lot of the time when I would see Harper and Harper would come up to me and give me a cuddle or come and wake me up, like, I'd be so upset, because I'd look in her eyes and think, how much time am I going to have with you? Are you going to be taken away from me? Are you going to remember me? And it's hard not to cry in those situations, because I was a mess. I was just a mess for a long time, and putting on this front that I was okay to, you know, friends, family, and social media, I guess. But then, you know, fast forward, there's songs that hit me. There's two actually, and I think I talked about them in my last episode. But there's one by, I think it's Beverly someone, and it's dancing in the sky, and it reminds me of my nan, where, like, every single time, and I'll tear up, and sometimes I'm not emotionally ready. I love remembering my nan and granddad, but sometimes I'm not emotionally. I can't, because if it comes on in the morning, that's my day's gone. My day's done, because I'll be thinking about my nan, which in some respects is nice, but I'd rather not kind of be really sad all day.
Yeah.
And the other song is Emily by James Arthur, which he sung up for his little girl Emily, and it's I don't know if you've heard it, but I think it's a beautiful song, and the way he sort of sings about singing her to sleep, and he'll be there for her, and it sort of gets me every time. And it's like, I was going to another podcast the other day, and it came on, and I was like, nope, skip. I couldn't. Like, it's a lovely song, but I couldn't deal with that. Then it's too emotional.
That's the power of music as well.
That's the power of music. It really is. But it is nice as well. Like, it's not nice that these things happen, but it's nice that we do have music, that it does remind us of, you know, my nan was years ago now that I lost her, and my granddad. But even these years on, that song will come on, and I'm sure it'll be the same for you. It's nice for all of us that we have music that can hit a chord, and it can remind us of, you know, happy times and people that we've lost.
Also, things like this help. You doing this podcast, that helps. You know, people might not think that, but it does. You know, like I said, I don't really have many people to talk to. And also as well, I feel like I can speak, not openly, but about it to you, because you've kind of been through that sort of stuff. With the kids and that, I don't want to be a burden.
Yeah.
They've got their own things going on, you know, and I was, oh God, Dad's doing this again, he's talking about this and all this. Yeah, I want them to see me upbeat and happy and being stupid with them all the time, just having a laugh, joking with them. Yeah, we have some real funny moments. And that's the household that I want to bring up, and I don't want to be looking around being depressed and miserable. And, you know, obviously I do get moments, but then that's normally in the evening. Yeah. And that's when I lose myself in the music, when they're asleep. You know, well, saying that, they don't actually sleep much at the moment because it's summer holidays. So yeah, I'm normally in bed before they are.
That's summer holidays for you. But I'm glad that the podcast is somewhere where you feel like you can come on and you've been able to talk and speak freely, because I think that's all I can hope for this, for anyone, is that anyone that's, whether they're coming on as a guest to talk about their story, or they're sat there, and there'll be people that are sat there listening thinking, I'm not ready, I'm not in that place, I'm not feeling strong enough that I can come on and talk about it, but at least I don't feel alone.
From looking at your other podcasts, I mean, obviously my issues are not as deep as some other people's, but it's just nice to have a chat, you know? Yeah. Really
but this is the thing, it's some people I've spoken to have been through some of the worst things imaginable. Some people have maybe not had it as bad as that person, but this is what I say earlier, it's not about comparing people's pain and what people have been through. It's by you maybe not speaking, not having a place where you've been able to come and open up. You know, you don't want to get into a situation where you're bottling things up. And yeah, like I say, pain is pain ultimately. People's stories. It's not everyone is going to have the same story. And I think that's the beauty of this podcast, is that anyone can come on and anyone can come and have a chat with me about anything they want. And if that makes you feel better for an hour, and whatever your story is, it's going to help someone, because whatever you've gone through, someone's going to sit there and relate in some manner, and they're hopefully going to listen to that and think, oh, okay, yeah, John, I'm going through the same thing as John went through, or I feel the same way as he does, so I'm not on my own. It all helps.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that. And what made you get the idea for the podcast? Was there a particular thing?
Yeah, great question, to be fair. Great question. It's a tough... So basically, since I posted a video 18 months ago, which is the video, you know, we talked about earlier, I probably received in that couple of days about 15,000 messages.
Wow.
Possibly more. I've never even been able to go through them. I would answer as many as I could, and I'll always be quite open on my socials and with my DMs. But what happened from there was just so many. Constantly now, I'll get so many DMs, and I'll spend so many hours of my day. Bearing in mind, I'm trying to be a dad. I'm trying to create content because that's what is supposed to be making me money. But I'll spend so much time like talking to these people that are really struggling, and they're saying like, thank you for putting yourself out there, and then thank you for taking time to talk to me. And I felt like there was a real, not a disconnect, but I just felt like I can have a conversation with these people, but then it's kind of, they feel better and they go on about their day. Hopefully that's the hope, that, you know, because there's a lot of creators out there that are probably so busy they don't get time to do their own DMs. They've got a team of people that do that for them. And I thought, all these people, there is still a slight disconnect. How can I help more people? And I thought, and this has been in my mind for maybe a year before I started it, maybe a year. And I just thought I needed a way. I didn't know what it was going to be. I was thinking of, do I start a group? Do I start a Facebook group? Do I start doing like a weekly meeting in a coffee shop? Do I start... I just didn't know. And then I was sat in the gym one day, and it was when I started going to the gym, and I just kept receiving these DMs, and I just thought, what would be better than just having text conversations with people constantly is actually, if these people that are talking to me, reaching out, if they come and talk to me face to face, if we do a podcast, we talk to people, I can get people's real stories, we can connect a little bit more, and then we build a kind of a support network for each other based around that.
Yeah, it's a lot more personal.
It's a lot more personal to be able to sit here and make eye contact and have a real conversation that's not like, if it's a text and someone's really struggling and they might not want to talk about it, they can just turn the phone off. Whereas
with a text message, you can't tell what tone it's being sent in.
That's it. That is it.
Yeah.
Whereas here,
yeah.
And even if
this
it's...
is why I've always been one of these people that will bring somebody up and speak to them rather than send a message.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in such a generation now of text messages and voice notes, and I think even voice notes are better than text because you can still hear someone's voice, you can hear the tone in what they're saying something. But for me, it was the fact that I can sit and have a conversation, and then it's not, and it's called definitely not therapy, which is obviously a bit of a play on words. It's a bit, because I'm never going to be a serious person. I'm always going to want to have a laugh when I can. But it's being able to sit and have a chat. It is, in a way, therapy for me, because I then get to talk to 3 or 4 different people every single week, have a little chat. And also I know that hopefully in some respects it's going to help the person I'm talking to. But if it's not even helping the person I'm talking to just by having a chat, it's going to help,
Others,
a few other people, however many, I don't know, but it's going to help other people. Because some people are going to they might only relate to 1 episode out of 20, but if they've related to 1 episode and it helps them feel less alone, well, I've done my job. It's been worth it. Yeah. But yeah, my hope is that it reaches more and it helps more people. And I don't know where it can go, but we do it. I just thought, do you know what? Do it. Do a podcast. My friend Al, from episode 1, actually, is a good friend of mine. He's just written and directed a short film. I was talking to him about it. And I was saying to him, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I want to do. And he was like, just do it. Just do it. Get that. You've got the stuff because you had a podcast before. Switch it on. We'll record one tonight. And it was done. I was like, okay, fine. I've done. I'm in it. Let's just do it. And then I've recorded 16. I've got like 20 more booked. And I think
that's the thing, though. If you have too much time to think about it, you're going to put it off and put it off. Yeah. Be impulsive. Just get on and do it. And yeah.
And here we are. This is where we're at. And it's good. I'm really enjoying making the podcast, and I think it's great hearing people's stories and people that can relate to what I've been through. And yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it. So I really appreciate you coming on and talking to me and being open about your story as well, John.
Yeah, absolute pleasure.
Nice one. All right, well, we'll wrap it up there because the camera's about to die. But thank you for joining me, mate, and stay in touch. If you can send me, I don't know if you'd mind, send me the link there was a couple of songs that you mentioned that your son had written. It'd be not for the pod necessarily. I'm going to use the song that you sent just to play us out, but if you can send me a couple of the links to some of the other songs, it'd be interesting to hear them if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
Amazing.
No worries, buddy.
Lovely. All right, John, well, it's nice talking to you.
Anyway.
No worries. Have a nice evening, mate.
Yeah, and you, buddy. Thank you.
It's definitely not therapy.
That was John. He uses music as an escape. I use comedy as an escape, and I think a lot of people, we just need that sometimes. We need that escape, and John is clearly an old school character. He bottles things up, but he has a good support network around him, and he's just doing his best for his family. But, you know, there's not to say there's a lot that he does have to deal with, and I think hopefully I've given him some good advice in the sense that he does need to open up sometimes. He does need to kind of let that support network help him, rather than just being like, this is just the way I am. You know, I just bottle things up and I do my music in the evening, because as much as he's dealing with it really well, I think we all just need someone to check in with us now and again and say, is everything okay? Are you okay? I guess for John, he's got his daughter that comes home every day and she's like, are you okay, Dad? Are you okay, Dad? And that's nice. And that shows that the younger generation and his kids are being brought up in a manner in which they are caring and they are asking and they are checking in with each other. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. Thank you for all the support. And if you're interested in coming on and talking to me about your story, whatever that might be, email me at onlydanlawrence@gmail.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Do you believe in miracles? 'Cause this life is a living hell. Do you believe in magic? 'Cause every dream we have is tragic. When there's nothing left, we'll sing. It's all